Garrett Smith is a 19-year-old late model crown jewel winner. The Outlaw points battle tightened, sort of. Rico Abreu swept in California, and we had a sprint car crash before a race even started. Let's go. It's Monday, October 17th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is Dirt Tracker Daily. Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series season closed out over the weekend with the Dirt Track World Championship at Portsmouth Raceway Park. Tim McCreadie was crowned series champion for the second straight year. Obviously, no secret. We knew this one was wrapped up before the weekend even started. But 6 wins, 28 top 5s, and 45 top 10s in 54 races was more than enough to take down the title for T-Mac, with the final points margin back to Brandon Sheppard being 265. The last 3 seasons with Lucas, if you can get your average finish with the series into the 6s, you'll have a shot at the title. McCreadie was 6.1 last year, 6.2 this season. Jimmy Owens was 6.8 in 2020. So going into 2023, we know what we're looking for here from a champion. After McCreadie blew his engine at Knoxville back on September 18th and finished 25th, the door, I think, was maybe slightly open for Sheppard here, but T-Mac ended up closing strong over the final 5 nights. 2 wins, 4 top 5s, and a 6 got the job done. Congrats to McCreadie and his Paler Motorsports team. Really great season for them. Garrett Alberson was the Rookie of the Year, topping Dalton Wilson, Spencer Hughes, and Ross Robinson. As for Saturday night's race, we will all obviously remember the first win for 19-year-old Garrett Smith, and obviously his first crown jewel win, $100,000. But outside of that, this one was really notable for not much else. The entire race was completely locked down on the bottom. Passing was difficult, and you probably could have guessed early on, but tires became a problem late in the race. Bunch of guys had issues, some even with multiple flats. Smith was able to survive and save enough tire to get to the end. McCreadie and Mike Marlar rounded out the podium. In his previous 25 Lucas appearances, Smith's best finish was a 6th at Huset's. That happened back in July this year. He did lead laps and finish second with the Outlaws at World Finals in 2021. With passing tough all weekend, I think that quick time on Friday night kind of ended up being really important here. That gave him the pole of his heat race. He ended up winning that and then got on the pole of the main event and led all 100 laps. Definitely a win I didn't see coming, and I'm not sure anyone else did either. This is one of those races, I think, where the numbers don't really paint the picture. We had 90 total position changes. That's normally pretty good for one of these races. Jonathan Davenport went 20th to 6th to earn hard charger. But all of the passing was really because of the tire problems. Definitely a ho-hum way to kind of end the year for Lucas. Behind McCreadie and Sheppard in the standings, Ricky Thornton Jr. ended up 3rd, Hudson O'Neal 4th, and Earl Pearson Jr. was 5th. With Lucas now done, we've still got a few Outlaw shows left, including World Finals. There are also some Flow and XR races left as well. There's some other bigger regional stuff to watch. So Super Late Model season not quite done just yet. Moving over to the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the gap between the top 2 in the standings got smaller for the second straight week, with David Gravel winning Friday night at I-80 and finishing a spot ahead of leader Brad Sweet on Saturday at Lakeside. With the postponed National Open and 3 nights at World Finals still to go, the gap is now 54 points between the two. That's down from 66 before the weekend and down from 94 before Port Royal. I told you back on Friday that Gravel needed to average beating Sweet by 5.5 spots per night the rest of the way to pull even. And while Gravel did make up ground, it really wasn't enough. The narrative you'll continue to hear is that things are tighter, and they are, that's true, but it gets more difficult as the nights tick off. So taking 12 points out of the lead was good, but his task is actually tougher now. So 54 points is 27 positions. That's 2 points per spot. But over 4 races, that means he now has to top Sweet by 6.75 spots per night. So that's up from 5.5. Gravel is good at the Grove, but that place isn't such a problem for Sweet anymore. We've seen him win and run up front there. And Gravel's won 5 times in recent seasons at Charlotte, but the Big Cat has 11 top 10s in 14 races. I think this is still very much in Sweet's control, and it will probably take a crazy run to the end for Gravel to really have a shot here. Looking at this past weekend specifically, Gravel obviously won Friday at I-80. That was the final World of Outlaws race there, and they actually had their final race ever there on Saturday night. There was a weird situation also before the B-Main where we had cars wrecked while they were lining up for the race. Tim Estenson checked up in front of Matt Jewell and Zach Hampton, and Hampton ended up going for a tumble. He actually drove kind of over the left front of Matt Jewell's car. Jewell's out of the race. That front end was completely destroyed. Hampton out of the race. His car obviously with a bunch of damage. Estenson was fine. He was able to continue. You don't see guys crash like that, very often, running kind of back to the pace truck. But with the way things go sometimes, it's probably a miracle that it doesn't happen more often. It's that situation where the pace truck or pace car kind of gets out away from the field, lets the guys kind of buzz the track before they kind of get lined up for the final start. But definitely a weird situation there. On Saturday night at Lakeside, we had great racing between Gio Scelzi and Logan Schuchart, but James McFadden got to the lead with 11 to go and bagged his first Outlaw win of 2022. It was the 99th series win for Roth Motorsports, and McFadden is the 15th Roth driver to win an Outlaw show. You've got to wonder here if Roth sacking Kerry Madsen earlier in the week was maybe a little bit of extra motivation here for J-Mac. Saturday was also the Dennis Roth Classic out in California. I had several comments on Friday's show about McFadden's future in that car, so this hopefully takes a little bit of pressure off of that team. The Outlaws are at the Grove on Saturday this week for the $75,000 National Open. We'll talk about that later in the week. Speaking of California, great racing Friday and Saturday out there with the NARC 410s. Friday at Hanford, we had Rico Abreu, Dominic Scelzi, Justin Sanders, and Corey Day all in the mix. Guys were throwing sliders, really battling all the way to the end. Rico ended up coming out on top in that one. And then the fun continued on Saturday at Tulare. Dominic Scelzi was out front for most of the race while Day and Rico battled behind him, but Rico got by Scelzi late to sweep the weekend. We hadn't seen Rico win a NARC show since 2019. And even though he didn't get a win, it was a good weekend for Scelzi. He extended his points lead over Willie Croft, and there are only 2 races left in the NARC season. The other big money on the line over the weekend was with the Short Track Super Series at Port Royal, $50,000 to win on Saturday night. And with the season he's had so far, Stuart Friesen really needed that one. The problem, though, was he ran into a white-hot Matt Shepard. Both drivers started way down the order, Shepard from 11th, Friesen from 24th. The Halmar 44 was in control late in the 75-lapper, but his tires started to fade, and Shepard was right there. The 9S took the lead on the white flag lap and drove on to the win. So Super Dirt Week and Port Royal in back-to-back weeks, that just adds to Shepard's incredible year. He's also going to win all 3 Short Track Super Series championships and the Super Dirt Car Series title. Short Track Super Series is back this coming Friday night at Orange County Fair Speedway. The inaugural season for the Extreme Outlaw Midgets is over now, and Zach Dahm was able to lock down the first ever series championship on Saturday night, but it turned out to be an adventure. He won last Thursday night at Port City, but when things moved over to I-44 Riverside, bad luck almost completely ruined it. They had engine issues on Friday. Dahm actually ended up eventually finishing 12th in that one after a trip to the work area. For Saturday, his teammate Ethan Mitchell jumped in a Dave McDalby car because they took the engine out of Mitchell's car and put it in Dom's car after the Friday problems. That team famously runs Honda Power, which is good, but it's a little unreliable at times. In the Saturday show, Dom was running away with the win in his heat when his engine let go in a big way on the final lap. From there, it was an absolute mad scramble to get a car ready for him as the Bundy-built team was basically out of bullets. Chad Boat rolled one of his backup cars out of the trailer, and guys from several teams, including CBI, Dave Mack, and others, thrashed to get it put together in time for the feature. Dom took a provisional and needed to finish 14th or better to guarantee the title, and he ended up doing just that. A 9th place finish locked down the championship, and he topped Bryant Wiedemann and Brandon Crouch. Crouch actually wrapped up the Power Eye National Midget Championship over the weekend. As for the race winners, Kenneth McIntosh made it 9 winners in 9 races on Friday night, while Jade Avedissian became the first repeat winner of the season, topping the field on Saturday. She nearly threw it away with late contact with the wall, but kept it together and then fought off a challenge on the final lap from Wiedemann. Kudos to Wiedemann. He raced her hard but clean, and that was in a situation where he absolutely needed to get the win to try and get the title. And I think a lot of cases with the midget stuff, you would have seen, a sketchy move there, not great move there, but Wiedemann kept it clean. Extreme Sprint Car Series closes out their year in a few weeks down at Devil's Bowl. Other weekend open wheel winners included Shane Cockrum in the Bettenhausen 100 for the Silver Crown Series. Kaylee Bryson made history in that one. She was the first woman driver to ever start on the front row of a Silver Crown race and the first woman to ever lead laps in a Silver Crown race. She eventually led 72 of the 100 circuits, but had to settle for 5th at the end. Headed to the finale this week at IRP, Logan Seavey has just 3 points on Cody Swanson for the Silver Crown Championship. Blake Hahn swept the ASCS weekend at Devil's Bowl and will roll to his 2nd straight series title with just 2 race nights left. Justin Whittle won at Port Royal on Friday. Danny Diedrich was the winner at Lincoln, and Robert Ballou won the Kokomo Clash. Other weekend late model winners included Trevor Gundaker and Logan Martin with the MLRA at Tri-City. Carson Ferguson won the $10,000 Southern Nationals makeup race at Swainsboro, and Mark Whitener was a $10,000 crate winner at Golden Isles. Streaming schedule is quiet today. Just Flow Racing 24/7 playing. To see the full daily streaming schedule with links to watch, visit dirttracker.com/watch tonight. That's it for the show today. Have a good Monday. Please hit that like button and subscribe to the show if you don't do so already. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for more Dirt Tracker Daily.